let's end it with something
Yeah. So
also bad, but you could
this,
make it nice.
yeah. So unfortunately, as I'm sure many of you heard, um, the Game Chasers, Billy Hudson, passed away
I think I
suddenly and
I think I had
unexpectedly.
seen
Yeah,
I think I'd seen on Slack that you posted that he was in the hospital, but I didn't really look
he
at it.
was.
And then
Yeah,
I was just working and I happened to see on my phone that he died, and I was just like, oh shit. And I
yeah,
remember that you were a big fan of theirs.
yeah. So a couple weeks ago, he posted that he was in the hospital. This is in August. That he had some symptoms and went to the hospital and was diagnosed with a brain tumor. This is in August, and then just a few days ago, he passed away. So imagine that. Hmm, you get the diagnosis, and then within a few weeks,
Gone.
gone.
Yeah.
This is a man who was 44,
Yeah.
who
It's
appeared to be in good
too young.
shape, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and the news was shared by his longtime friend and co-creator Jay. He posted on social media that Billy lost his fight with cancer on Thursday, September 18th. I'll read his full statement. It's with a heavy heart and tearful eyes that I have to make this post. This afternoon, Billy lost his fight with cancer. A video is being made this weekend with more details. Please don't ask for additional information. Also, keep in mind that this just happened, and the family, YouTube family included, is in a grieving process. I know there's lots of questions. Please let us have a moment and not slam people you know. We're his friends with questions, me included. We are getting a ton of messages, calls, texts, and it's overwhelming. Billy loves each and every one of you and appreciates the love and support you've given him. So, I guess I'll just explain like my fandom of them, right? Um, I came to find their stuff in 2014. So I was at that point, I was at a down point, you know. I was just recently divorced, and I was just sort of starting to get stuff back together. I lived in a new, I moved into a new apartment, which was actually where I worked too. I was managing the apartment building, um, and they, as a part of being an apartment manager, they gave me a two-bedroom apartment, which is nice and everything. But I'm recently single at that point. I'm in California, and I just don't have that much stuff. So it's just this big empty apartment, you know. And on top of that, um, that type of job was it was less working from home and more living at work, and just like managing a 60 unit apartment building. People come to you with problems all day long, and you know so there were people there on the outside of my apartment, but I was feeling like man, I'm just kind of alone out here, you know what I mean? And I can remember one day on a weekend when I was, supposed to have time to myself. Like I had certain office hours I had to keep, or someone came to the door, I had to resolve the problem, whatever. But it was a weekend. It was a day that I had to myself, and I can't do anything else. I'm so exhausted. I'm just trying to figure out where I am right now, and I'm just gonna like watch YouTube and play video games on my emulator on my MacBook. And so, in doing this, I came across the Game Chasers for the first time, and what immediately struck me about that show, for those of you who don't know, first of all, it's Jay and Billy, and the whole theme of the show is they go hit up retro markets or flea markets rather, and try to find some video games. It was like inspired by American Pickers and that kind of thing. But they wanted to do that, but just for video games.
Yeah, it's kind of like an antique show, right? Like I
Yeah,
only
it's like
saw I only saw a couple
correct.
episodes with you, but it has that like it has the formula of a lot of like a reality or documentary shows would do, where you have the thing and then you do like the
Mhm.
interviews where you walk it through. Like I do so many different jobs like that. I saw them doing
Right.
that where they would talk about how you felt when you were in the when they did the footage from whatever earlier, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's like another yeah, it's like it's kind of like yeah, like an antique show but for retro games. It's kind of what I gathered from it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And what was cool about their show was there was an obvious effort made to make it feel like one of those shows, not just like somebody recording a YouTube video, as was still common at that time and still happens today or whatever. It wasn't just recording a video and talking there on the scene. There was like production value to it. They had graphics and they had um, interviews with other experts who were their friends and all that kind of things. And yeah, you could see some of the seams and everything, but that added to the charm. It was like, oh, these guys they're doing a really good job of just making something as professional as they can with some limited resources. And so that was like there's like heart behind it. That's what really like endeared me to their show is you could see that they were trying and mostly succeeding at making it look like a really professional show. And of course, as episodes went on, they got better and better. And the later episodes, on up until episode 90, which debuted, I think, 2 or 3 months ago, it just looks like a professionally made show that might be on History Channel or something like that. Um, but that was like how I came into it, and it felt like the way that they filmed it just felt like you were bringing you along for the ride, and like you were there in the van with them, and you were privy to their in jokes, and you just came to feel like sort of one of the gang. Um, so this week when the news came, you know, it just of course I was sad, but I'm like, the next later on in the day and next day, I'm like, I'm still sad about this. I was thinking about this today. Like, why haven't I've been sad all week, about this? Um, you know, and why? This was somebody I didn't know personally. I met him once. I
Yeah,
met him at SoCal Retro Expo, um, where I got this T-shirt. I bought a T-shirt from them.
yeah, got it on even.
I got it on today. Yep, in honor. Like why am I so sad about this? Because I didn't really know this person, right? This is the first I realized that
You felt like you did though, right?
I felt like I did. Yep, I felt like I did to some degree, and I think this is the first time that I've had a YouTube person, internet person that I really followed who passed away.
Hmm.
There's been other people who I've known of, whatever, but this is someone who's like, if there was a video posted, oh, that's what I'm watching during lunch today. I'm gonna put on Game Chasers and eat my lunch. So this, and also not only did I watch their show, but I watch all their friends' shows too. It's like a networking thing, as
Yeah,
we all know. People pop up from different YouTube channels, and then now I want to go watch his channel, and his channel is really interesting too, and all that. And so now this last week, I've been seeing all their different friends post about
yeah.
this tragic passing. So I'm not going to try and say like like I my grief is equal to theirs. Absolutely, it's not. But it's more than just if it was some random celebrity who I admired, whose movies I watched or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Is
there,
he?
there was times when I would watch his live stream and it would be in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. or something, and I'd be one of 20 people watching because it was late or something. Um, it did just feel a little bit more like this is someone who I kind of knew a little bit, as you said. So yeah, I don't know. I'll just say my heart goes out to them. This his family too, and he had a wife and he had a young son. they were just hit by this in August, and then processing that, and then he's gone in September. So, uh, yeah, it's awful. So, yeah, and what I say to people who are out there, like, in the previous story, going after like Discord, Twitch, and all of that, and oh, this is like the problem with games and all this stuff. Man, watch Game Chasers. You'll see what it's really about. You'll see what video the video game community and the retro community and all that stuff is really about. This is about friends. It's an excuse to hang out with people, who have a common interest, to share a common passion. And that brings it around for me to say, like, Game Chasers was a big reason why I wanted to do NintenDomain.
Yeah, it
You
kept you
know,
around for
yeah,
hundreds of episodes, or
hundreds of episodes. Yeah, when you guys invited me, the
contrary to
first
what
time.
AI thinks, even though AI thinks you're only on the show sometime. Don't listen to
Yeah,
AI
that's
for
true.
anything.
Don't listen. AI has never listened to a single episode of this show.
Yeah, we listen. We like searched it one time, and it said that John's on the show sometimes,
Yeah.
which I thought was funny. It also said that it's not posted every week. I was like, yes, it is. I do it.
Yes, it
Fuck you,
is.
AI. You don't know anything.
Yes, it is. Um, yeah, it's an excuse to hang out with friends. Um, and I could tell, like, the Game Chasers, Billy and Jay, they started doing it because they enjoyed games, but more so because they enjoyed games together. And through enjoying games together, they brought on a whole community of people who all enjoy games together. And man, it's a big loss. He's one of the OG retro game YouTuber, social media people. And seeing everybody post about this, it's just clear to me what a good guy he really was. In the moment that I met him, I'll tell you just a brief my brief impression, because it was only a few seconds. It was at SoCal Retro Expo, and I was walking by their booth. It's like, man, Game Chasers are here, cool. And my sort of demeanor when I see somebody who is notable or famous or whatever, I'm hesitant to engage as much as I would like to internally. Like, I want to kind of fan out, but I also want to, hey, these people are here doing a job, and want to. I don't know. I find it hard to find a balance sometimes, and that time I think I was a little bit more uh, reserved, right? But when Billy saw me kind of standing back, I'm telling you, he jumped up. He jumped up from his seat, and he hurried right on over to me and, hey man, how's it going? You know, how can I help you? What can I get for you? And I said, oh yeah, you got a t-shirt, you know, double XL, and yeah, man, cool. I gave him my $20, I think it was. Um, you know, hey, thanks for being a fan, man. Appreciate you, appreciate it. Yeah, cool. That was about it. But my impression from the moment that he saw me from across the room, jumped up. Hey, how can I help you? You know what I mean? I always was left with the impression that's a really good guy. You know, he's hardworking and he clearly cares for his fans. And that fact of him being a good guy is really coming through, and the aftermath of all this, where people are posting lots of heartfelt videos. And not only that, I'm noticing that people are posting videos with their thoughts on it. Um, his close friends, they're all donating. They're monetizing the videos, and they're donating the money to his wife and his kid. Um, so yeah, if you got the time, if you haven't checked out Game Chasers, thankfully it's still all there. It's going to be a minute, I think, before I can go watch an episode without feeling
Oh,
a
yeah, you
little.
haven't been just
Mm-mm.
reminiscing
No,
it or whatever. Yeah.
No, it's going to be a minute, I think, because I'm
It
still,
yeah, it varies.
you
I
know,
guess it varies on lot. Like
yeah.
when David Lynch when David Lynch died, I watched some of his old experimental movies, and
Mm,
I watched like Twin Peaks, the bunch of Twin Peaks episodes
mm,
in the background. I guess even though I was still very sad about it, just it helped, I
yeah,
guess, a little bit.
yeah.
It was kind of like a comfort food for dealing with that. I know it's not quite the same, but I looked up to David Lynch for years, and it just kind of caught me out of nowhere. Wasn't ready for it.
I'll get there, and if and when they ever post a GoFundMe or something, I'll donate. And you know, I'm just putting that out there just so go watch those videos. The people talking about him because every little bit of monetization from those videos, from his close friends, is going to his family. So you can do something good by clicking on some of those videos. And yeah, if and when I do hear of a GoFundMe coming up, I'll be sure to mention it on the show as well.
For
So
sure. Yeah, our
God bless
hearts.
you, Billy,
Yeah,
and we'll miss you. And my heart goes out to his family and to Jay as well and all his friends.
yeah, hearts and our yeah. We send our best to you over there. And yeah, there's only good in video games. Is that like study that I saw like a couple days ago where it's like, oh hey, we found so he's like, oh, we found that people who played Breath of the Wild like felt better from play. I feel like it's definitely like a deconstruction thing for me to just like
Yeah,
zone out and play something for a while to make me think less about all the terrible things in life or whatever. And it's yeah, and all the better to you know you can have all the money in the world and have all the video games, but what does that matter if you don't have anyone to share it with and to actually talk about it? And
yeah,
that's why I was like, let's make a podcast like 10 years ago or whatever. And thankfully, Jeremy, you and Jeremy and many other people we've met along the way has gone on the journey with us, and I appreciate that. And to any of you who's still
yeah,
listening to this at 2.5 hours, but thanks
yeah.
for all the for anybody who's sent us a line, and feel free to drop an email or whatever. I'm always like to hear comments from people.
Yeah, we appreciate
Listen
all
to
of you for listening, um, all this time for this episode and for the other episodes. And this is all about sharing our love and passion for games. And at the core of that is sharing a need to reach out to each other. Gaming can be a lonely hobby sometimes. That's the truth. It can be a lonely hobby.
I mean,
Sometimes you play
yeah,
by yourself, but
I mean,
but
yeah, single player games are my
yeah,
favorite thing, but
yeah,
I said at the same time, it's not as fun if you don't have anybody to share your video game journey with.
that's exactly it.
It may be fun for itself, but you know, you're just gonna.
The big part of the reason why I play any game, any single player game, is so that I can have an experience and not just keep it to myself, but relate it to my friends and have a reason to join up on this podcast and share with the community. So yeah,
So yeah, thanks for listening to us, and check out the Game Chasers also online
yeah.
for all that stuff. And RIP.